Hello, thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Friday, March 21st edition of our video devotionals. Thank you so much for joining us today and hope your Friday's going well. It is the end of another work week and school week, so we have the weekend Sunday before us. Hopefully that can go great for you. And this today is, I didn't mention it yesterday, we're actually officially into spring now as far as the calendar says, and yesterday was the official first day of spring, so we'll just call today the first complete day, first day of spring, okay? And today we're supposed to be about low 60s, and we were down, I think, to about 38 this morning, something like that. So it is cool in the mornings, but it warms up pretty nicely, and this is probably about our normal temperatures for this time of year for us, at least. But I know there's been some severe weather. There's been, I think there's some snowstorms going on because of the way the weather's trying to change. The warm's trying to come in, cold sand, not yet. And you know how that goes. So hopefully you're enjoying your spring. Thank you for all who watch the videos. We appreciate everybody. And thank you for the comments and all of that, okay? All right, we're in the book of Ruth today, so we're going to jump right into it. Ruth chapter 1. We're going to begin, I think, in verse number 7. I'm going to read a little bit more than normal here. Many of you know probably the setting here, but let's go ahead and jump into it, and we'll do some explaining as we're reading here, okay? All right. We will say this. This is about a man and a woman that had two sons. They go into Moab, down into Moab. The two sons marry two Moabitish women. Ends up that dad dies, and the two sons die. It leaves three women. You've got Naomi, right? Orpah and Ruth, all right? So you got the mother-in-law, the two daughters-in-law. Notice in verse 7 what it says here. Wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her two daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return into the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her two daughters-in-law, Go return each to her mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you, as ye have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant you that ye may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. Now notice verse 10. This is important. And they said unto her, Surely we will return with thee unto thy people. So Naomi says, I'm going home. The two daughters-in-law say, we want to go with you. We want to do that. And that's what they both agreed to, all right? Notice verse 11. And Naomi said, Turn again, my daughters. Why will ye go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb that they may be your husbands? She says, Look, you can't wait for me to marry again and have children, sons, and then you marry them. And then she says a little bit about that. Then notice verse 14. And they lifted up their voice and wept again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. There's a difference there, okay? We'll come back to that. So they're both very affectionate toward Naomi, and both have this idea that we're going back with you. But the Bible says here, notice verse number 15, And she said, Behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back, that's Orpah, unto her people, and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. And some very more beautiful words are said after that. You know, a lot of people, verse 16 is used a lot of times in wedding vows or in a wedding situation. There's nothing wrong with it. I get it. But that's not what this is really about. This is about a young lady that sees her mother-in-law. And by the way, this young lady, Ruth, all she has seen is her husband die, and then, of course, her other son die, Naomi's son die, and then her father-in-law die. So it's not like she says, I'm going to stay with this woman because she's very rich or she's very blessed. Man, she has seen some tough things. But no doubt the effect of God in Naomi's life and all of that had a bearing on Ruth. There's no doubt about it. So matter of fact, when Orpah goes back, even Naomi made the point of saying that she's gone back to her people and unto her gods. But you know, it was Ruth who says, you know, I want to go back with you, and where you go, I'm going. And I want your God to be my God. And the story ends beautifully. But see, Ruth don't know this. She don't know how this is all going to turn out. But I know this. I love the fact there is a difference with people that will really stick with you, and people who say and maybe even display a lot of emotion. You know, a lot of people do a lot of talking. You know, they say a lot of things. But when it gets down to it, it's the people that really stick with you. You know, that makes the difference. And I'm sure all of us have people that we've known that's had people that have stuck with us, so to speak. And not just because everything's gone great, but even when the times were bad. Hey, in this case, Ruth hadn't seen the best outcome yet. All she's seen basically has been death. And Naomi says, I'm going back home. Of course, she shows up and she don't even look the same. So my point is, be the kind of person like Ruth, and for the right reasons. You know, this is really a godly thing. This is a spiritual thing, because Ruth really had no other reason except some kind of a hope, some kind of faith that it was going to turn out right. And she wanted to be with a lady who knew God, you see, and it's going to work out very well. And of course, the rest of the story is a beautiful story. But let's be the kind of people that stick with people, that are people of God, and that's important. All right, we're going to stop right there. Have a great day, safe day, healthy day, Lord willing. We'll see you back on Monday. We'll be talking about the word gospel again, and thank you for watching.